This is my biology digital portfolio for semester 1, and it's by me, Daytona Del Leon. So my concept showcase is the cover of my comic book for Miss Warby's class, and we had to do this comic book on photosynthesis and cellular respiration. So the girl's name is Synthesis, and the boy's name is Bio. So Synthesis goes on this journey to the spirit world, where she meets all these people, but she has to get back to the real world. But along the way, she learns more about photosynthesis and cellular respiration, and it's like a journey and a love story. So, can you explain it? Phytoplanktons are single-cell organisms that live in aquatic environments. Many species of marine animals feed on phytoplankton as their main food source. Phytoplankton and producers that use chlorophyll to carry out photosynthesis. This image shows a global map of concentration of chlorophyll in the ocean. Greater chlorophyll concentrations correlate to larger populations of phytoplankton. Phytoplankton produce nearly half all the oxygen in the atmosphere and use large amounts of CO2 during photosynthesis. Scientists have discovered that in global population, phytoplankton have been decreasing. So if you look over here at the figure 1, the chart, you can see the map of the world and the chlorophyll. So chlorophyll mainly populates near the land, because if you look, there's mainly red around the land. And then the farther it goes out, it starts to go down. So green is right here, so it's like in the middle of 1 and 0.3. But if you go all the way out into the oceans, you can start to see it decrease. So that's why the phytoplankton probably can live out here in this area. So my claim is the population of phytoplankton goes down because of the temperatures, and this could be true because of this. My evidence, so some background knowledge, I have global warming and population, pikas, and temperature. So the temperature is what it is outside. The two measurement forms are Celsius and Fahrenheit. Global warming is where temperature is getting hotter, so the icebergs in the oceans melt, creating more water, and then it's getting up onto land. And then population is you and me, how many are in this house. So in my house there's 4 people, so my house is the population of 4. So my key vocabularies are temperature, species, tolerance curve, and habitat. So tolerance curve is we'll take a butterfly for example. So in the middle of the tolerance curve, they can thrive around 70 degrees to 80 degrees, and then you go a little bit over, they can still survive a little bit, but there won't be as many. Go a lot over, and they can't tolerate the temperature. And then you go a little under, same thing. They can still survive, but not as many, and then go down a lot more, and they all die. So that's a tolerance curve. So species are different types of species, like cat, dog, fish, bird, hermit crab. Those are just different types of species. Habitat is the place that the species or we live. So my house or my room is my main habitat, and then the temperature. So my reasoning. So my data and evidence is the chart from one of the previous slides to help state my reasoning. And then my other reasoning is this pika research. So this lady right here, pikas were dropping their existence, so they were going down in their population. And so she went to go research them for 4 years. So they have to live in these rocky areas. So she did all these experiments and trackers to see how well they survived. So they need a certain temperature. My reflection. So this year in biology, I learned about photosynthesis, which is where the plant gets food/energy from the sun. Cellular respiration, a process by which organisms use oxygen to break down molecules to get chemical energy. So the cool thing about wildfires that I learned this year is that like the fire people create like mini wildfires because like some of the trees have these pine cones that have seeds that only open in hotter temperatures. So when the whole forest burns down, you have those pine cones that have the seeds in it, and then they grow there. So this cycle continues, so you get a new forest. I learned about keystone species, which is the species that keeps everything apart. So a guy did this research on a starfish where he took the starfish out and the mussels started overpopulating, which took out a bunch of other species. And he did this for like 5 years, and then he brought the starfish back, and everything went under control. Another example would be like the seals. Hunters were hunting them, so the kelp forests were dying due to another species. And then you bring them back, and then everything goes back to normal. An invasive species is some species that comes from another place. So like if you go to the Everglades, like you have a bunch of invasive species. Like they can't be just animals, because like there's animals and plants that have invaded the regular species. So population patterns in a community. So like the ecological part of all this. I learned about snow leopards because we did this project on like how a specific thing affects an environment. So it's just like a snow leopard could be a keystone species. And that was my topic. Other people had different topics, so I learned more about snow leopards. So like food chain energy, like each time you go down, so the plants are the producers, and then you have the first trophic level, the second trophic level, and the third trophic level, and you keep going down, so each gets 10% of the original energy. So say the plant or the producer has only 3,000 energy, you like you divide that by 10, times it by 10. Either way, it's going down by 10%. So the third trophic level will get the least amount of energy from the producer. And spears, I learned there's another name for the hydrosphere, which is a cryosphere, and that helped with the comic book. So here's my citations. I used the textbook, the Modern Biology textbook by Holt, Reinhardt, and Wilson, and the Science Live, which was that YouTube video. Yep. Thanks. Bye.